Trey Sermon going off for 331 against Northwestern. I'm sure that the coaching staff obviously has done exhaustive film study of what made that happen. Master Teague, at one point in the game, had 2 carries against Sermon's 15, something in that range. Do we think that just completely changed the running back distribution, that Sermon's hot, he's the man, he's taken over, he's going to be the guy, or he just happened to be hot on that game, be provided by the right blocking on his carries, and we're just going to fall back into what it's been?
That's a great question, because Sermon certainly earned the start. The best game either of them's ever had. Best game any Ohio State running back has ever had, supposedly against a vaunted Northwestern defense, although I didn't see a lot of vaunt in the second half. But you could make a decision and go with it and justify it, and it would be fine either way. And I'm sure however it shakes out, Master Teague and Trey Sermon are going to be fine with it, because they're going to need both of them, I think, to beat Clemson. It didn't seem like, I don't think the Teague injuries really come up this week, that it was that serious. It was depicted by Ryan Day as a sprain, but what we never really clarified, was it ankle, was it knee, was it wrist, what was it? He took a very bad spill. He went down the middle of the field for like a 27-yard run and got knocked ass over tea kettle, or whatever that saying is, and kind of tumbled back down to earth, and it was not pretty. I mean, it could have been anything on the way he came down and hit the turf there real hard. So to me, it didn't seem like it was going to be something that would keep him out of this game. But that's really, in the limited time that we've had to talk to Ryan Day, and these guys will attest to it, that the local people got virtually no questions with Ryan Day. And, the whole thing, I think they held him from doing anything with the local media, because they didn't want to have to deal with the video that was taken in the locker room after the game. That was kind of a fresh topic, late last week and over the weekend and whatever. So basically, from the day the pairing was announced on that Sunday, the 20th, until 2 days ago, he didn't do any interviews. So, your guess is as good as ours as to what's going on with this team, because really they've kept everybody in the dark, and that's how they like it when you're going for a playoff game and whatever. But, we don't have an open practice to go to where we could see. If this was a normal year, we'd been able to go over once or twice even to the Dome and watch them work out and get photos and videos of the guys running and Fields throwing and whatever. But we don't have any of that. So we're kind of left to them, and there'll be a lot of people watching warm-ups to see, is Teague taking his spot? Is he the number one? Is Sermon number one? Is Fields able to throw the football? I think there's a lot of questions that are out there, but either way, if Teague's healthy, I think they're going to split it and could go either way. Sermon deserves a start after setting a record like that, you could say. But again, you're 6-0 doing it the way that you did it. So why would you change it? So I don't know. Bring a fresh Sermon in after they've been loosened up a little bit. Maybe he rips one off again. I don't know. But I'm open to whatever the other guys say.
But on the flip side, I mean, we know that running back is one of those positions where once you get a lather built up, you run harder, and you sit there and you see you look at the Northwestern game, and Trey Sermon runs for 60 yards in the first half and runs for 271 in the second half. So I know that we all, fresher is better, but maybe not as much at running back. I mean, you don't want to run somebody 50 times or anything like that, but I think that they need to ride the hot hand, and kind of regardless of what Master Teague's status is health-wise, I wouldn't necessarily be too keen in making a lot of changes there, especially if Trey Sermon is having some big plays. And I want to kind of give a little bit of a shout-out to true freshman Mayan Williams, who only had the 1 carry, but good Lord, you can't bring that kid down. He's gonna be a good one. I don't know if he's gonna be a marquee, bell cow #1 running back, but I love him as a change of pace.
We only get to see that kid like once or twice a game, and every time it's like, whoa, what was that? And sometimes it only may be like a 5-yard gain, but he's had to do some things to get there, and he looks different than other running backs, and he is shifty and elusive and tough to bring down because he's strong. But yeah, I'm with you. You got to start with Sermon. Even if Teague is good to go, you still start with Sermon, because if it does take some time to build up a lather, then give Sermon that time. If you give you go with Master Teague early on, then it's going to take even longer for Sermon. And we saw Master Teague against Clemson last year. It wasn't good. And things have changed. But right now, if you don't get as much out of Trey Sermon as you can in the 1 or 2 games you have left in him, after he just set a school record, and then now next week or this week he'll 7 carries. It's not quite criminal, but it might be civil. I wonder whose familiarity works best for each school, because Ohio State is very familiar with Clemson now. Clemson is looking at Ohio State's defense. I don't think they know what to know. We don't know what to expect. So how in the heck can Clemson know what to expect? So I think maybe that helps Ohio State, provided the secondary actually plays well.
Yeah, it's kind of a crazy game to try and handicap or predict, because again, Ohio State's defense has been at times dominating, like Michigan State. They slammed the car door on their head, but and really last 3 quarters against Northwestern, they had the takeaways and they didn't let them do much of anything. There were a couple long drives, in the early portion of the game. That was a question. And I did a big story about the red zone. I mean, when you settle for 3 field goals inside the 20, 25-yard line, as they did last year against Clemson, and then have the problems inside the 30-yard line that they had a week ago against Northwestern, where they were in there 4 times, I think, in the first 2.5 quarters and got 6 points out of it. They had an interception right before halftime and turned it over on downs or something, maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. It all runs together at this point. Or they missed a field goal. Maybe that was it. I don't know. Yeah, I guess he missed a field goal, interception, and they kicked 2 field goals. So, yeah, it got to punch those in the end zone. Got to get 6. Can't take 3. Got to get 6, 7 when you get it down there. And that was their undoing last year, because instead of being up 24-0 or 28-0, they were only up 16-0, and they left the door wide open. There were some bad calls, some bad breaks, and Clemson took full advantage of it. And that's the game of football. That's life in the big city. So maybe some good breaks are due for Ohio State this time around. But I'm a firm believer you make your own breaks, and you do that with physicality. I mean, that's how Ohio State beat Miami way back in 2002 in the national championship game. That's how they beat Alabama. They punched the bully right in the mouth and out-bullied the bully with Alabama that everybody thought was a walkover, going to beat Ohio State. So, and I think a lot of people think the same thing here, that Clemson's going to, come in and with Lawrence just going to, drop 40 points on them and beat them up. And I just don't see that. I think Ohio State's physicality on both sides of the ball, both lines of scrimmage, is a tremendous edge, I think, for Ohio State.